Hi there guys, my name's John from ActiveJR.com, and in this video I'm doing a review of the Amazfit Stratos. Now I've been using this device for quite a while now and I've been testing it and putting it through its paces. So in this review I'll be covering things like the design, the features, the music controls, but the most important features to lots of viewers of this channel, the fitness features and activity tracking along with battery life. Before we get started, lots of people have been asking where I've got this from. If you check out the description below, there's links in there to obtain this device from Amazon. They've got plenty in stock now, so you should be able to get one. And also check out my website, again there's links below, there is more reviews and news on there. So thanks very much, let's get straight into this video. Now in terms of the design, really impressed with the design. It feels and looks really premium, and it certainly gives the other big guys like Garmin or Sunto a run for the money. In terms of the watch design itself, it's got a heart rate monitor on the back, it's got 3 stainless steel buttons on the side, and it's got a colour display. Now this colour display is also touchscreen, and you've also got 22mm removable bands. Now one thing just on the screen, when I was using it in a swimming pool or it was wet or my hands were wet, I did find the screen didn't respond as well, but I do find this with most touch screens, so that's one thing to call out. In terms of the internal hardware, the Stratos has got a 1.2 GHz dual-core processor. It features 512 megabytes of RAM and 4 GB of storage. Now only 2 GB can be usable for music storage, but you have to also use this for any other things you put on there, like third-party watch faces or the activities when they're saved on the device. In terms of wearability, I found I was wearing this and wearing it quite comfortably in a lot of surroundings, able to use it for a mixture of different sports, but also able to wear it when I was out and about. So all in all, a pretty good watch, and in terms of wearing it all day and all night, didn't find much irritation, so that was a good plus as well, especially with the sleep tracking built in. So moving on to music support, the Stratos supports storing music on board and also pairing Bluetooth headphones. Now I paired a pair of Bluetooth QC35s, and that works really well to put music on and listen to it whilst either I was just out and about or in an activity. Now there's a couple of things to know here. It has to be DRM free music, so it has to be music you've either taken from a CD you already own, or you may have downloaded from a website which may be not all too legit, or another DRM free source. So music that you've downloaded through iTunes that has got DRM protection, or Spotify or another service like that, won't work on the device. And also it does not have any streaming services that are supported like the Forerunner 645 Music. However, that being said, the music controls work really well, and so does the simple process of plugging into your PC and dragging the music across. So all in all, pretty impressed. Given the price point of the device, the music works really well. Now moving on to the sensor support. Now the Stratos features a load of built-in sensors. As I've already said, it's got an optical HR sensor that monitors your resting heart rate and your continuous heart rate, and also your heart rate during an exercise. Now I'll talk more about the heart rate later on in the review, but let's focus now on the sensors. Now it also supports Wi-Fi. In terms of Bluetooth, connecting devices is a little bit complicated. And what I mean by that is the Bluetooth headphones are connected in the settings menu. However, the heart rate monitor isn't. So at first I didn't think heart rate monitor would connect. However, once I looked I could pair a chest strap to the device. Now, a reader did ask, does it support having Bluetooth headphones and Bluetooth heart rate strap connected at the same time? Yes, it does, and it works really well. Now, the things it doesn't support any Bluetooth power meters, foot pods, cadence sensors, or anything else. It only supports heart rate straps. Now, I can possibly see this changing in the future, but at the time of doing this review, it doesn't support them, and it also doesn't support ANT+. So if you have got ANT+ accessories, then they're not going to work with this device. Okay, so moving on to the companion app and the software on the device. Now, the companion app is pretty well laid out. You've got a front screen that gives you data like steps, your resting and heart rate data. You also get your sleep data as well. And then along the bottom, you've got things that indicate your sports profiles where you can look at those. You also can look at your own profile, and this is where you can find the first beat information. So all in all, it's a pretty good app. Still think it needs a little bit of polishing and a little bit of work on it. I think they've put more work into the watch than they have put into the companion app. Now, when you look at the workout data, you get similar data as you do with, say, a Garmin or a Sunto. So you get a map if you've been using GPS. You also get information like calories, heart rate. You also get all the graphs and all of those things. So I think that's really good. Now, one of the things I find with the app that you can't do is you can't export the data. So, but you can go onto the watch and get access to that data to be able to analyze in third-party software such as Golden Cheetah or Training Peaks. Now you can connect to Strava as well within the app, and you also as well, if you go into the profile settings of the watch, you can alter some of the settings and some of your preferences like kilometers to miles or whatever you want it to be. You also can change the watch faces from within the app, and you also can reorder the widgets. So I think that's pretty cool. However, I don't think it's just quite there yet. I think it does need a bit more polish. Now the software on the watch itself, you can swipe through the different menus either through with your finger or with the buttons on the side of the watch. Now, it does get a little bit of getting used to using it, but once you've been using it for a few weeks, it becomes second nature. Now, you've got a day view which you can go into, and it gives you your steps, your calories, your workout information, your sleep data, and that's right on the wrist. That's really useful. You've also got the fitness profiles on here, and you've also got a number of different other things as well, which I'll talk about in the fitness section. Now, one thing I do want to call out, while I was using this, it disconnected from the smartphone 8 times, where I had to go through a procedure of uninstalling the app, taking the Bluetooth settings off, installing the app again, repairing the watch and starting again. Now, it didn't lose any of the data, but it's a bit of an annoyance, and I think unless they sort that out, then users are simply going to return this device as a faulty device, and they're going to lose customers. Now, it also has smart notifications. Now, like with most devices other than the Apple Watch, they only come up on the watch, and you can view them, and you can see what they are. What you can't do is you can't reply to them, and you can't accept phone calls. Now, moving on to the activity tracking. So it tracks things like steps, calories burned, your whole day heart rate, and your sleep tracking. Now, in terms of your step tracking, it wasn't as accurate as my daily watch, which is a Fenix 5X. Now, it was down by about 1,000 steps every single day bar a couple of days against the Fenix 5X. So the step tracking wasn't accurate in my testing. However, the calories burned throughout the day was absolutely fine. In terms of the sleep tracking again was out on a lot of occasions. Now, one particular occasion, it said I went to sleep at 9:38, as you can see with this here. When in fact I actually went to sleep after 11 p.m. and I woke up at 5:56, when in fact I knew I woke up after 8 a.m. So I think they have to improve the sleep tracking and the step tracking, but everything else around activity tracking seems to be okay. Now, moving on to the fitness features. Now, the Stratos supports a variety of different fitness activities and profiles, and there's a lot to mention. Also supports First Beat. Now, this is in Garmin Iron devices, and for those of you not aware, it tracks your VO2 max and also your training load and training status to give you an indication of how well you're performing or your body is responding to exercise based on your training program. Now, I find it particularly useful in Garmin, and the data here as well was pretty much in line, but I don't think it had enough data to be able to give me my proper VO2 max and also my training load. Now, it does have something that the Garmin watches doesn't have, and it's called real-time feedback. Now, this is a First Beat bit of technology. When you're working out, such as running, it will tell you to speed up, slow down, and it'll give you prompts of if you're pushing yourself too hard based on the data that's already collected on the device, and that's calculated by the First Beat software. It also offers training plans on the watch. So if you want to do a training plan, say you want to train for 5K, 10K, half marathon or marathon, there's all different training plans that are based on the individual that you can set, and it sets programs for you so you can follow them. Now, again, didn't have a chance to spend too much time with this, but when I went through, it seems similar to the Garmin Connect training profiles you can find on there. So all in all, I think this is really good that a type of watch at this price is offering these types of features. Now, a couple of things to call out about the workout profiles before I get into the detail. Stratos supports workout data fields just like you do with a Garmin or a Suunto, but you can't edit these like you can with a Garmin or a Suunto. Workouts like running or cycling don't have auto pause, so you need to remember to pause the activity or it'll just continue, so you can't set it to auto pause, which is a shame. You also cannot view stats on the device when you've paused a workout. So say you're out cycling and you want to see your average speed, or you want to see your heart rate, or you want to see simply pausing it on this pause screen, so that's not particularly helpful. You can load routes into the Stratos via a computer, but it has no maps. Surprisingly, the Stratos doesn't have a gym workout mode. However, you can set it to a non-GPS mode and use it in the gym. So guys, let's get into the actual test that I did with the device, and let's start with running. So in terms of running, all the metrics are pretty much bang on in terms of accuracy, and also when we look at the heart rate data and actually compare it in a piece of software, you can see the blue line is a Stratos and the purple line is a Garmin HR strap. Now you can see the dropout there on the Garmin HR strap, but you can see it all pretty much in line, and it's pretty good for running. Now, as we move on to cycling, it doesn't track things like cadence, it doesn't track things like power, so and because it simply doesn't support them sensors. However, everything else, speed and distance and the calories burned, seems to be pretty much in line. However, the heart rate data was well out. Now, this is pretty common of a optical heart rate sensor when you're cycling. Due to the vibrations and the movement in the wrist, you will have this. So the purple line is the Stratos and the blue line is the chest strap. As you can see, it's under on a lot of occasions. So all in all, the heart rate performance on the Stratos for cycling is just not there. Now we move on to swimming. And in terms of the swimming data, it gives you things like SWOLF, it gives you strokes and all of those. And again, comparing it to the Fenix 5X, everything is pretty much in line with that device. And given the price differences, it's not performing pretty bad, given there's probably about £300 difference between both devices. Now, I did talk about the gym, and I used a non-GPS activity to track gym data. And again, the calories and the heart rate data was pretty much in line. However, you know, when I was doing exercise involving the wrist, the heart rate data did fall out, so that's one thing to bear in mind. But this is common with any optical HR sensor that's on the wrist. When you're doing wrist-based activity, it will affect the readings. In terms of fitness activities, given the price point, I'm pretty impressed with the performance. You know, when you're comparing it to a Fenix 5X, which is several £100 more, it's not performed that well, and it's certainly an option for someone that's wanting a budget fitness tracker with a lot of great features. Moving on to the battery life. Now, the Amazfit Stratos is advertised as doing about 5 days or 35 hours with constant GPS mode. I never achieved any more than 3 days, and that was using it moderately. When I was doing, say, an 80k bike ride and then a run and then maybe a swim as well, or other things, it was lasting about 1.2 days. Now, some days it did last a little bit more than that with intense exercise, but then other days it didn't. I personally think there's some sort of software bug that's draining the battery, because it seemed to be up and down. There was no consistency, but I was not getting no more than 2.5 to 3 days at a push. Now, charging is done on the cradle, and it's pretty simple to do. All you do is you place it on the cradle and you plug it into a power source. The charging takes about 1.5 hours, and it's got this funky animation when you're charging as well. But all in all, the battery performance, I don't think it's that good, but it's certainly better than, say, an Apple Watch or some other devices. But if you're really wanting something to last about 5 days, then right now this device is not going to do that. Okay, before I finish up with the review, just some things I think that they could improve on the Stratos. The app could be a little bit more polished, it could be a little bit more refined. The random disconnecting requiring a long process to get reconnected needs sorting out, or people are just not going to keep this device. The support for Bluetooth sensors is a must if they want to call this a true multi-sport watch, so they need to to add things like power meters, cadence sensors, foot pods, and all of those things. Allow the user to edit the workout data, seeing the data fields, but also to see the data when the activity is paused. I think that's a must for anybody that's into multisport. They also need to enable auto pause as well. You know, that's a certain must. Now, should you buy the Amazfit Stratos? Now, I think it's a great choice. I think it's a great watch for someone that's wanting a budget watch, but wanting lots of features that a Garmin or a Suunto offer. Now, you can get better watches in Garmin and Suunto, but you're paying a lot more. If you're looking for, say, a Fitbit Ionic or a Fitbit Versa, and you're considering that price, then look at this watch as well, because it will give you a load of features, a load of training data. It's pretty accurate in terms of the GPS and the calories burned and the heart rate tracking. So you're going to get a really good device for a really good price. Now, the only thing I do want to call out, they are new to the market. So the question could be, how long are they going to last compared to their competitors like Garmin, Suunto, or Fitbit? Now, only time will tell, but you only see with companies like Fitbit that are already in trouble with their share price. So you've got to buy based on what you know now. But that's it, guys. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thanks very much. I'll speak to you soon.